Everyone, welcome back to D&H TV. I'm Chris Phillips. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have a great topic here to talk about today. We're going to be talking about the cloud that comes to you, and we've got a great speaker to help us out from HPE. We have Joe Vidal. He is the Master Technologist. Is that correct?
That is, well, actually, the
You know,
chief technologist, close enough.
close enough. I want to be the Master Technologist, like no one ever was. I want to be the very best.
Yeah, it's all good.
So Joe's got a great presentation here for us today, but before we get started, there's some quick Q&A I wanted to go through for you guys. If this is your first time joining us for a webcast, we will be taking questions throughout the broadcast. To ask a question, there is a Q&A button or there's a Q&A window right over here. Go ahead and highlight that for you. If you have any questions throughout the broadcast, please feel free to ask us. We'll be taking them as they come up. If you need any more information or would like some resources for what we're talking about, there is a resource section in the menu as well that has been highlighted for you. So you can go ahead and click on the PowerPoint slides and any other resources that are available now or after the broadcast is over if you need to reference them after the broadcast. But without further ado, Joe, you got a lot to talk about today. So I want to give you all the time in the world to get started, and we'll go from there.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and thanks everybody for joining us today. Um, as mentioned, my name is Joe Vidal. I am in fact starting this week officially now, which is why the questions around the title. So it's not your fault. I am starting officially on
It was one thing on
Thursday.
one thing on the reg page, one thing on the PowerPoint slide. Figured I'd
That's right.
ask.
That's right. Yeah. Well, on Thursday, as of Thursday, September 1st, you'll see an announcement that I am the new HPE GreenLake Chief Technologist for North America, still associated with
Yay.
the Office of North America CTO. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And it's a function that I can't believe we didn't have a CTO or a CT over top of GreenLake for quite a while, but we have a huge team, right? And obviously my former team within the Office of the North America CTO under Scott Wiest has been seeking out and discovering new technologies, kind of like new worlds, right? Everybody wants to be the Star Trek master, chief, and captain, but not everybody gets to sit on the Starship Enterprise. Bottom line is we're all a part of that same team, and you as partners, I rely on you. I've been working with the channel for over 32 years. I actually came out of a programming, job and voice and data network design for the phone company to go to work for Memorex Telex, a channel partner back in 1989. So, and for 7 years, I spent 7 years in the channel selling and solutioning and designing solutions. So I know exactly what you do. For the most part, it really hasn't changed because I've stayed working with the channel my entire direct career with Compaq, HP, and now HPE over the past direct 25 years that I've been here. And it's great because this technology and this business is constantly changing. Now I'm going to spend the next roughly 53 minutes or so, or 54 minutes, talking about what it is that HPE has done to redefine ourselves and a go-to-market message, strategy, and delivery model that enables us to deliver everything as a service. Because as you're going to find out, and as you're going to hear from whether you're listening to or reading IDC, Gartner, McKinsey, no matter what industry analyst, and by the way, in the resources, as mentioned, you're going to find several white papers from these main primary industry analysts that say the same thing, and that is they're encouraging customers to look at going and delivering to a delivery model that's everything as service. It allows our customers to deliver IT as a cloud service to their internal business units and give them the agility needed to stay ahead of the competition. Now, it's imperative upon us to help them deliver those solutions, right? And right now, our customers are mostly trying to deliver agility and scalability, but their business data is trapped, right? There's complex systems, whether they have one cloud or multiple clouds, and most customers I talk to actually have more than one cloud, right? As well as some traditional IT. And what they need to do is to be able to connect it all together so that when they're looking at business models or looking to extract business intelligence out of that data, they can't just look at a single pool of that data. They have to look across their entire data lake or data estate, right, as it were,
Hmm.
to look for that business intelligence and to infer those business lessons learned. Now, we'd also like to be able to deliver that with a predictable cost model, and we can do that right now. Digital transformation is creating a bigger and bigger divide, as you see here by KPMG and McKinsey. And the industry leaders are gaining 2x. That's 200% better performers than everybody else. And they are being agility driven, or they are agility driven. Unfortunately, for those that stay behind, are either going to be obsolete or irrelevant. And trust me, none of our customers want to be either obsolete or irrelevant to their customers. So it's incumbent upon us to help them solve these problems. And so let me just briefly spend a couple slides here talking to you about HPE's vision and strategy and what's changed so much, right? So you've probably heard Antonio Neri, starting all the way back to when Meg Whitman was still our CEO, gosh, almost 5 years ago or 5 years ago. We were focused on edge-centric, we're going to call it IoT, all those devices at the edge, sensors, robotics, manufacturing facilities, you name it. I'm going to give you some examples of these, right, that can all now be automated and managed via as a service models. But we have to reach out and manage the edge-centric devices because they're all data-driven, and we have to make them cloud-enabled. Right, so we're connecting these devices at the edge so that everything can be cloud enabled, cloud automated, managed like a cloud service, and leveraging public cloud like economics, right? With public cloud simplicity, yet with the traditional IT predictability, traditional IT controls, and traditional IT security models. And those are the keys, right? So to be able to leverage a public cloud economic model or cost savings, economies of scale, right? Public cloud agility, public cloud simplicity, but traditional IT performance, traditional IT security, and traditional IT controls and flexibility. So those are the things that you want. And we're able to do all of those things. We have a transformation program to help you as channel partners to deliver these solutions, all on secure data platforms using AI and analytics and a whole bunch of other things. And also managing networks and workplace automation, manufacturing automation, healthcare automation, education automation. I'm going to talk about several different industries and verticals where I know each of you play and sell every day, because there's a lot of solutions out there. Now, in order to deliver these solutions to you so that you can deliver them to our customers, we've had to go out and acquire a few customers or a few companies, a few technologies. And this is just a short listing, actually, I should say a condensed version of all the acquisitions that we've made just in the last 36 months. We've made more than these, right? Almost 19 acquisitions in the first 36 months, but these are the biggies, right? Nimble should have been on there, but I think Nimble's just barely outside the 3-year marker because we bought them just over 3 years ago. But the InfoSight technology that we got from Nimble was absolutely game changer for us, right? Because it gives us the analytics that we need in order to help our customers stay ahead of their predictive models, or delivering predictive models that help them stay ahead of failures, breakdowns, outages, and things that other customers experience. We recognize and find those, and then find commonalities and make sure that only ever one person experiences those things, right? InfoSight. So if you don't know, if you haven't heard of InfoSight, I encourage you to go out there, look that one up. I won't be talking about InfoSight in details here. But of all these acquisitions, from Red Pixie to Cloud Cruiser that gives us visibility to the cost models, the usage models, and the resources available in the multiple public cloud provider spaces, that allows us to do integration with Amazon, Google, and Microsoft Azure, as well as pretty much any other public cloud service provider. We have CTP, Cloud Technology Partners, and the technology that we acquired with them. And this is kind of a good place to mention this. Every one of these acquisitions, there's an obvious reason why we acquired them and a not so obvious. For CTP, the not so obvious one was the continuous compliance tool that we got with them that is now our managed IT compliance deliverable, or service that's a deliverable that delivers a compliance dashboard to our customers. And as you're going to hear from me, security and security compliance is a big thing for every one of our customers. Doesn't matter what industry they're in, because pretty much every one of them have some kind of online financial model or online selling model. So they're concerned with PCI compliance, right? Payment card information security, GDPR security, whatever it happens to be, they have a security issue and need, and we can help them with it. If for no other reason, they should be interested in hearing about what you can deliver them with a GreenLake service in order to get visibility to their compliance model. Now, with that said, I think we might have a polling question here.
Yeah, we do have a poll question I want to push out. I'm actually going to change it up. I'm actually going to go to the second question we want to ask because I think it's more relevant to start now. I'm going to go ahead and push out a poll question. It's very simply, do you guys have a cloud-first strategy, or do you or any of your partners have a cloud-first strategy when it comes to your cloud infrastructure? Go ahead and answer that question for you guys. Again, we encourage your guys' feedback and engagement in this broadcast because it'll allow us to tailor what we're talking about to what you guys feel.
That's right. And in translating this question, do any of your customers either have a cloud first strategy or a cloud only strategy, right? Or a 100% cloud strategy, cloud first, that kind of thing. So if it's a yes, if you have even one customer that has a yes, please answer that question as yes. And if no, then you need to, let's just let's just see how the poll turned out first. So do we have the results yet? Are we close enough?
We're gonna have to give it a little time, but you guys can keep rolling.
All right,
you can keep rolling. Yeah.
All right, we'll give it some time. We'll keep moving. All right. So in the meantime, we have more than 6,000 projects that we're delivering in an edge to cloud model every year, with over 2 million active customer service contracts in over 175 different countries. And obviously, we rely on the over 1,000 partners, ISV, alliance partners, suppliers, colo providers, and resellers such as yourselves to help us deliver these solutions. Without you, we can't succeed, right? Still, 70% of our business, or 70+% of our business, is delivered via the channel. So we love you guys. I love you guys. All right. Let me know here. All right.
Give him one more second to get the results up for you, and
you got it.
All right, keep going.
All right. So in the meantime, let me just mention a couple of the solutions that we're delivering. So we're delivering solutions that help you rein in your cats and manage and automate.
I need that all of a sudden. Apparently, I'm locked in with one. I thought I evicted all of them before we started. My goodness.
It's all good.
This is what happens when you guys start working from home.
We can't hear the cat, so you're good. It's all good. Now, we always do the Steve Martin routine. We start to do the cat juggling, right?
Right. I'm going to do it at some point here.
Yeah, that's great. All right. So 2/3 of the folks out there said they do not have a customer that has a cloud first or cloud only strategy. Interesting. Okay. So let me speak to that.
How about we follow? Yeah. How about we follow up and we ask them why?
Yeah. With the why not, right?
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so
and if you answered no,
look at these options now. If you answered no, so for the 2/3 of you that said no, is it because they haven't decided which public cloud service provider? Do they not trust the security of the cloud? Maybe they don't trust the economic savings reports and promises, or maybe they've already been burned by public cloud hidden fees and unexpected cost increases. So if it's any one of these or more, pick your favorite pain pill that caused them to be soured on the cloud. And then let's talk about that. And so let's give them a few minutes to look over those options and answer those.
Yep.
And then we can come back to that in just a few minutes.
Yeah, go ahead. We'll come back to it in about a minute.
Okay, should I hit next?
Yeah, no. Let's go back up to your presentation, Hall.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Okay, so of the solutions, when I mentioned that there's across all the different verticals and industries, certainly whether you're looking for a smart space solution, whether it's a smart office space, a smart airport, a smart medical office, a smart government complex, a smart school system, or a smart arena, right? Maybe it's a smart manufacturing facility, maybe it's a smart farm, right? And trust me, we have sensors that can be placed in the soil that tell the farmers when to water the plants, the vegetables, the fruit, the the
Hmm.
crops. We also have the ability to sense when the crops are mature and when they need to be reaped. We have sensors that can be swallowed by cattle that tell the farmer, that allows Farmer John to become Dr. Doolittle and speak to the animals and know when the cow's hungry, right? To know when to milk the cow, the optimal time. All these things are done with sensors. It's scary what can be done with
Yeah,
sensors.
you
And
had
as you're
me up
seeing,
until the last point. Now I'm a little scared.
that's right. You don't know. Maybe you've swallowed a sensor in the middle of the night and they're tracking you right now.
Well, as
You
long
never
as they
know.
can tell me what I want for dinner, they can have all of my data.
Well, you know what? When you go into the Home Depot and in one of their 2,900 plus stores, they are tracking you on the high value aisles. And if you hover in front of a product, then for more than 45 seconds, we then take interest in you. And our systems then are saying, okay, do we know who they are? We'll acquiesce them, see if there's a Bluetooth device in that same vicinity. Do we know that Bluetooth device? Do we know their email address, their text, their cell phone number? What are they looking at? So they say, okay, oh, they're looking at this device. Okay, well, that matches up with his or her search criteria on the web over the last 30 days, because when you opted into the Home Depot Pro app, you didn't realize it,
Yep.
but you gave Home Depot and HPE access to your search history. So they can search to see what products might be similar to what you searched for recently, and does that align with something you're standing in front of? Now, we're not going to encourage you necessarily to buy what's directly in front of you. We're going to then look at the SAP HANA in-memory database to look in real time what's in inventory in that store right now. And maybe I want to not incentivize, but I want to incent that customer via discount in real time to buy this product that's below that one on the shelf next to it, because I have that one on high inventory. And it's just like this one, and maybe it's the Home Depot brand, right? So we can do that in real time. It's kind of Minority Reportish. And of course, even if we don't know who you are, we can still send an advertisement to the end cap display that's closest to you, no matter which direction you walk down that aisle. Now, we're not doing that on every aisle in the Home Depot stores. We're only doing it in the high value aisle. So look for that kind of solution to be implemented, and it has been implemented now across all the stores. So when you go there, don't be surprised if you see in the kiosk at the end of the aisle something similar to what you just looked at, that is hidden in that loop of advertisements as you walk by, that's offering you maybe 15 to 20% off for the next 45 minutes. Or maybe you get a text offering you that same thing. So rather than give the customer a 2-foot receipt at checkout like you get at Walmart, Target, Walgreens, Kroger, Publix, things like that, right? Those are customer records management, CRM solutions. This is a real-time CRM solution that is driving customer decisions in real time.
Nice.
And it's not all that different. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's something I've experienced. I think some of us probably have. I again just did a Lowe's to get, like, I think I was getting a stud finder, but that's the high value area because that's all the appliances. I've also bought power drills from them, and by the time I had gotten out of the store, I had realized there was a notification on my phone that was notifying me of a battery sale for
Oh,
power
yes.
tools that I had already had. So
There you go.
that's how it works.
It does. And you know what? You know who started all that, especially with the batteries? You just reminded me who it was. A company that had several patents in the CRM space around tracking and telling their customers when they probably need to buy replacement batteries. Tandy Radio Shack, right? Tandy Corporation and Radio Shack did that many, many years ago. They did it very, very well. So speaking of which, can we go now to the poll questions and show me how that worked out? Okay,
There are the
so
results for that one.
over 50% have been burnt by the public cloud and were shocked with the unexpected increase in fees, and 20% haven't decided, and 30% don't trust the security. I love it because that feeds right into the next slide. So let's go back to that next slide, Austin.
There you go.
And here you go. What we found is that there's been a boomerang effect. And in fact, 85% of all enterprise customers, this was taken just before we all were impacted by COVID in February 2020. This was before COVID. Even then, 85% of enterprises were jumping out of the public cloud and moving things to a private cloud or traditional data center approach or a colo that they could control to get rid of those data egress fees and to rein in the cost and scale of what the public cloud was driving them towards. So this is called the boomerang effect. This is not new, but you can capitalize on this, right? Because what it's allowed us to do is now move from this infrastructure first, cloud first mandate across a multi-cloud enablement, or I should say enabling multi-cloud. And we're doing it by taking out the complexity. We can start day one by controlling spend, or controlling their spending, reducing the risk, accelerating the response, and enabling them to flex as they go and pay for only what they use. Now, I would say pay for only what they need, but as we all know, State Farm customizes car insurance, so you pay for only what you need in car insurance. And in fact, they do the same thing with home insurance. And I'm a State Farm customer. However, the important thing is that State Farm's also now an HPE GreenLake customers. They're paying for only what they use, not what they need. They need, and everybody needs more than they use, right? Because you want to have flexibility to scale and to burst. But I don't want to have to pay for that bursting capability full time because I want that extra 20% or maybe even 30% buffer to be there when I need it. And I only want to pay for the 70 or 80% that I'm using every day, right? And that's when we say that State Farm is paying for, or Liberty Mutual. So I'm so sorry, it's Liberty Mutual that'll customize the car insurance.
You just lost your
I know.
spiel.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry if there's anybody here that sells to Liberty Mutual. Please don't tell them that I gaffed. Liberty Mutual is a great customer of ours.
We'll fix it in
Liberty
post.
Mutual,
It's fine.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, we'll fix it in post. Yeah, but it's live. All right, so it's all good. The good news is that they're a great HPE GreenLake customer paying for only what they use, and that's what we really want to enable all of our customers to do. But we're helping them move from a centralized to a distributed model. Now, this is kind of back to the future, right? Because now we're going back to kind of the client server days of a distributed model from a centralized model where people were centralizing things in public clouds and traditional data centers. We've gone from cloud first to cloud everywhere, from more data to more insights. And the key here, the most important one at the very bottom, is a security-based focus, delivering a zero trust security model throughout. And you can translate and understand that zero trust means different things to different people, like kind of cloud. If you ask 3 people their definition of cloud, you'll probably get 5 or 6 different definitions because everybody has a couple. When you talk about zero trust, true zero trust means trust no one, right? But what we have to do is implement a trust but verify model. And when someone is, let's just say, logging into the system or accessing the system, whether it be applications, data, or the network, in a different way than they normally do, outside of the hours that they normally do, from a different place than they normally connect from, you need to challenge them and have them re-authenticate, right? That's typically what we're doing when we talk about multi-factor authentication as opposed to dual-factor authentication, right? Dual-factor was so last year. And had the big pipeline here in the Southeast had dual factor at least implemented, they wouldn't have been hacked recently, right? Those hackers didn't set out to actually take anything down, cost anybody any money, but they cost us millions, if not billions of dollars accidentally, because they didn't realize that the entire pipeline had to be shut down because it could be turned into a weapon if somebody takes control of the system, which they did. Anything and everywhere, if improperly managed, like a smart car, can be turned into a weapon if hacked. So these are things that we have to secure. So we take security very, very importantly. Now, are we still making hardware? Are we still manufacturing and making some of the best servers in the world and some of the best storage solutions in the world? Absolutely. Our ProLiant servers still lead the industry with, we're going to call it razor's edge technology, always blazing the new trails and allowing Dell to follow us after we invent new stuff that they might say, well, what is composable? They made that word up. And then 3 or 4 or 5 years later, now they finally have a composable solution when they realize that, well, we didn't really make it up. In fact, the military and DARPA has been using the term composable since the 60s. So we certainly didn't make up the term. But nonetheless, yes, we are still manufacturing great servers and great storage solutions. And we have a very, very complex and complete storage portfolio, as well as our compute and server portfolio. But I don't really want to talk about that today, other than the fact that all of these solutions can now be either purchased or delivered as a service. And if you have customers that still want to actually maintain ownership, like most government entities and almost every federal agency has to own the infrastructure that the data resides upon. That's great. We'll sell them the infrastructure, but we'll deliver the cloud service and to deliver the cloud service delivery model that they need to automate their business. Now, what this allows us to do is to move beyond that cloud first or cloud only strategy to a multi-hybrid cloud strategy that now enables us to deliver a cloud smart or cloud everywhere solution set for our customers. Because what we really need to help them realize is that what they need is cloud everywhere. They need a cloud delivery model for IT that allows IT to maintain control and cost and control over the security model and the security definitions, right? But the flexibility and the cost savings of public cloud. Now, this led us to a whole bunch of announcements this year, and it discovered just, a month and a half ago in Las Vegas, we had a whole bunch of announcements. These are the top announcements that I've highlighted here on the screen. And I'm just going to mention the fact that, yes, we announced some new solutions in Data Fabric in our Data Fabric offering with Ezmeral and Ezmeral automations and integrations into the Amazon Enterprise Kubernetes stack and to the Google GKS, Google Kubernetes stack, and to the Azure Kubernetes stack, so that our Ezmeral Kubernetes stack integrates with all of those. So if you have a customer that's doing Kubernetes, they're doing K8 in whatever form, and maybe they're using the Amazon development portal or the Google development portal or the Azure development tools, guess what? We can integrate with those and enable them to move to a hybrid cloud model that still leverages those tools and leverages that data. We can, at the push of a button, now back up an Amazon S3 storage element or S2 solution back to private storage or storage in a colo that the customer owns. So we can also, at the push of a button, back up something from a traditional data center to the Amazon cloud or to another colo wherever. We can do all these at the push of a button, and you're going to find that as we roll out more and more services, and we have over 70 plus services in 17 different categories today available on HPE GreenLake platform or the cloud platform, you'll be able to purchase these things on the platform. And there are some that you can just, via click of the button, they can enable that service. And you, as the partner of record, automatically get paid for those services. In fact, we pay our partners 17% of the total contract value of all the HPE SKUs upfront on day one at signing, not at delivery.
Nice.
Right? So this is huge. You actually get paid, if this is a 3-year or a 5-year contract, you get paid, let's say it's 3 years, you get paid 70% of the 3-year contract value on the day that contract is signed and hand over through distribution, through D&H to HPE. So that's huge incentive for our partners to look at selling this. It's certainly better than making 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 points. And then we encourage you to add on your own services, right? You add your own services onto that, wrap it in your own services, your own service delivery model, and we'll get to that in just a few minutes. But the key here is there's a whole bunch of offerings here, including the enhanced compute ops management, the data services cloud console updates on the storage end. We've expanded the Red Hat and SUSE relationship. We've announced a partner-ready Vantage program that enables you to deliver a private cloud service of your own. Let's say I am Jovi channel reseller. We're going to call it Vidcom and Associates. I am Vidcom and Associates reseller, and Vidcom and Associates wants to sell a private cloud or a hybrid cloud solution. It can be the Vidcom and Associates hybrid cloud powered by HPE GreenLake. And we're giving you the APIs and the integration elements to enable you to deliver your own private cloud service or hybrid cloud service customized for your customers, right? That's enabled and powered by HPE GreenLake on the back end. Now, a lot of these resources are going to be announced in mid-October and available mid-October, but some of them, the APIs, the integration points, the documentation, the development portal, all that's available today, because it's going to take a few months to get those things stood up. So we want you to get a head start on that, right? And we can help with that. So healthcare and finance industry stacks, expert and really simplicity to deliver those things. And obviously we announced a whole bunch of updates on our servers and storage platforms as well. But when it comes to data first modernization elements, we really have 5 key tenets. right? The data is a core asset. And you probably heard Antonio Neri, our CEO, talk about how data has so much value and it has such gravity that
Yeah.
it costs a lot to move, right? There's some, with the volume and the velocity that we're creating data, it costs a lot to move that data and to store that data in any one place. So we have to take the compute to the data. So we're enabling you as our partners to resell and create and deliver micro clouds that sit at the edge. So we're taking the compute to the data and then enabling you to, and the customers, to extract the business information and send it back to the central point for collaboration and things like that, right? But bring those insights back in rather than bringing all the data back in. We get rid of all those data egress fees by processing the data at the edge. And we also believe that data has rights and sovereignty. GDPR and the Europeans certainly proved to us with the privacy, with the how important it is to have privacy of data and data security of private information, or global data information privacy laws. The bottom line is that we have to keep our customers' data private. And there's also geographic requirements for certain countries like Canada, most of Latin America, half of Europe, requires that all those citizens' data stay within the country borders. So that means that we really can't be transferring all that data to a central location here in the United States for processing. It has to be processed there, right? So bear those things in mind and understand that these are going to be elements and conversations you want to have with your customer to open up these hybrid cloud conversations and opportunities that you'll be seeing. Now, we found opportunities and solutions across the board, right? Over $10 trillion being managed by FIS. And by the way, we now are selling the FIS tool suite as a service, as a software as a service on GreenLake for those customers that want to acquire it that way. Seagate's seen 300% ROI, manufacturing efficiency, wordline cost savings there. We're managing 100 petabytes of data a day for Zensact, and that's in automating their supply chain and edge to cloud. And what they do is automate cars and automobiles, right? Manufacturing. Now, let's talk about how we deliver these things. We deliver these things through something called HPE GreenLake. And HPE GreenLake is our edge to cloud platform that enables us to deliver a hybrid cloud delivery model with private cloud and traditional IT controls and security, but obviously the cost savings and economies of public cloud. And it is what we call the cloud that comes to you or to your customers, right? Now, we have over 17 different categories of solutions, over 17 services and solutions in these 17 categories that include VDI. And we can deliver VDI as a service in a whole bunch of different ways, right? Because there's no one VDI model that's perfect for all VDI workloads, right? Maybe you just want to do data entry. Maybe they want to do CAD, CAM, and engineering design. Both can be done in VDI, but they typically aren't going to be done on the same platform because you'd be very wasteful to do the data entry on a platform that's designed and architected for 3D CAD CAM modeling, right? And that's just one example. Across the board, I have all kinds of examples of these things, and in the tools that you'll see in the resources tab, you can download a lot of this information. Now, let me just speak to what the platform looks like and how we deliver HPE GreenLake, the HPE GreenLake Edge to Cloud platform. First and foremost, it has a secure wrapper, or as we call it, the Project Aurora that we announced at Discover last year was a 3-year project that enabled us to deliver a zero trust architecture framework wrapper for HPE GreenLake. Finally, helping us guarantee at least a secure solution delivery model, right? Whether that's an application as a service or VM as a service, VDI as a service, maybe it's OS as a service, maybe it's simply infrastructure as a service, whatever it happens to be. We can deliver anything in this model in a very secure manner, leveraging AI in multiple different areas to recognize threats, identify, lock down, control, and then eliminate, and then respond to those threats in real time. Let's see, are these services available through D&H Marketplace?
Yeah, Ronnie just asked that question.
Yeah. So I believe the answer is, or will be, yes. All of those services in 17 are resellable through D&H. Whether they're visible in the D&H Marketplace, I don't know the answer to that one. But maybe
I'm sure Annette will get us an answer before the end of the broadcast.
Annette will get us an answer. Okay. All right. In the meantime, let's talk about security real quick, because security is a really big issue, and we need to make sure that you are focusing on security, because I think it's one of the best sales hooks I've ever experienced in my 32 plus years of selling and designing IT solutions and selling them. This is the best way to hook a customer on your fishing line and know that you're going to reel them in. Okay, so I call it the best fishing hook out there, sales hook out there, and that is talking about compliance, talking about security. Now, several of the highest risk rootkit, bootkit, hacking toolkits are DrovoRub and FinSpy, or actually correctly pronounced DrovoRub and FinSpy. DrovoRub is, of course, developed by the KGB, or FSB, the former KGB. It's out there. It was developed by Russia. It's available for free on the dark web. You can even pay, and for as little as $2,000, hire somebody to leverage and use that toolkit on someone. Bad, easy. It's scary how easy it is to find somebody to do something bad, right?
Yep.
Now, the good news is that whether they're going to use that or FinSpy, and FinSpy, by the way, is the #1 rootkit, bootkit that the Chinese have developed, but let's not blame them entirely. The FinSpy toolkit was actually developed by our own intelligence agency here in the United States, or an intelligence apparatus, I should say, and was used out there on several other countries. China discovered it, hacked it, reverse engineered it, added in some other tools of their own in there. Now they're using it against us. So we all have to be aware of these threats out there. The good news is that if your customers are buying HPE Gen 10 ProLiant servers or HPE storage solutions that are hosted and run and manufactured, delivered on an HPE ProLiant Gen 10 platform, which they all are now, then they are immune at least to these types of attacks, right? This doesn't guarantee that they're not going to be hacked. Hackers can always find a way in from phishing, or we're going to call it natural selection, right? Or
social manipulation is like
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Social engineering, as they call it, right? Social engineering, or socially engineering a password by dumpster diving outside a person's office or home, right? To get personal information that they might use to try to guess what the password might be. And they're very, very good at it. So it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. And then what are we going to do about it? How are we going to respond to it? Well, our solutions deliver a secure supply chain all the way to secure infrastructure, secure OS hypervisor, secure platform, secure workload. We have we have security hooks at every one of these 5 layers of the solution, and we're the only server and storage manufacturer on the planet that's delivering a secure supply chain with silicon root of trust that guarantees immunity from these particular types of attacks. We're doing this. Go ahead.
Real quick, to answer Rodney's question, go ahead and email HPE at special. Actually, I think it's HPE specialist at D&H.com. It's written wrong.
To get those services.
Yeah,
so
HPE specialist at
D&H.com.
No, I think that second. I think that first ad is bad. Is not the right one. It's just HPE specialist at D&H.com. We'll get the SKUs and services that are available right now.
Cool beans. And you know what I'll suggest is, I know we're going to be sending a thank you out to everybody that connected and is playing along with us at home today or their office. So we want to make sure we'll put that in the email as a follow-up. In the meantime, speaking of follow-ups and speaking of security, you rest assured that we are, in fact, putting our money where our mouth is and delivering the most secure solutions, because even the Defense Information Systems Agency that hosts the Pentagon Cloud is running it on and delivering storage solutions that are GreenLake, HPE GreenLake storage solutions. So the Pentagon Cloud, the DISA Cloud, I was one of the cloud architects for that original private cloud back in 2006, 2007. That was a 2-year project that it took us 2 years to define that first private cloud. Out of that project came something we called the CS700, which was kind of our cloud in a box, the Cloud System 700, for those of you that remember that way back in the day. That came from that project, and then we implemented those ourselves and turned that into a solution that we resold to everybody, including customers like the Dallas Cowboys, right, and many others. Now, the NSA just implemented a 1 million core, 40,000 node AI, artificial intelligence, high performance cluster that is running basically on HPE GreenLake. And more importantly, it's actually hosted in a public cloud service provider space but it's actually running on HP GreenLake platform and highly secure. And we want that to be highly secure because they have all of our information, right? They have all of my information and probably all of your information too. So how are we doing this? How did we deliver HP GreenLake, the cloud that comes to you? And how are we staying ahead? So first and foremost, we enable our customers to have capacity ahead of demand. We're delivering financial flexibility. We have reserved capacity and their reserved capacity commitments and a variable capacity buffer. So I'm going to step through how this works in the next few slides and how the GreenLake model physically works, right? First and foremost, it enables our customers to manage their over provisioning. Most customers buy in a 3 to 5 year cycle, and they buy 3 to 5 years worth of infrastructure all at one time, knowing that it may take them 2.5 to 3 years before they get to the point where they're using all of that infrastructure, which means that they have sunken cash in those assets. And that's basically a lost opportunity cost of capital for every one of those customers. And there's an opportunity for them to rein that capital back in and reapply it to other projects. That's what we can do with HPE GreenLake. And I'm going to step you through how that works in just a second. Managing their cash flow, enabling them to have better infrastructure ownership and a better infrastructure experience with predictable pricing. And by the way, when a customer signs a GreenLake contract, they are locked into that cost model no matter how the costs skyrocket. And as we all know here through the COVID experience we've been going through for the last 2.5 years, costs have skyrocketed. But those customers that locked into an HPE GreenLake purchasing model at the beginning of COVID are locked in for the entire contract. So that 3 or 5 year contract, it's locked in for that fixed price no matter how expensive the infrastructure might be. And they get first dibs, first priority for everything that comes off the manufacturing assembly line because we have guarantees in place with a service level agreement of our own to our customers and to you, our partners, to ensure that they always have 20 to 30 or 40% more infrastructure there than they're using, right? Because they need more than they're using. And we have to guarantee that that's always there in place. And we do that, right? We do that. We also deliver an analytics portal that we call that the GreenLake Analytics Portal that is via GreenLake Central. We have the hardware and software that you know from HPE for many, many years. We add the GreenLake Central, and I'm going to show you kind of what those tools are in just a second and give them visibility to their entire private cloud estate, as well as visibility to their multiple public cloud resources. Now, I want to be careful to say giving them visibility because within GreenLake Central, just as GreenLake Central, if we're talking about HPE GreenLake Private Cloud Enterprise, PCE, which we just announced at Discover this year, PCE is the public cloud service provider experience in a private cloud model. There's no flexibility in infrastructure. They don't get to choose what the hardware is or what the storage is or what the network is. But then again, Amazon, Google, and Azure customers didn't get to choose that either, right? So in Private Cloud Enterprise, it's the lowest cost, simplest model to deliver a private cloud. Now, HPE GreenLake Private Cloud regular solutions, which can be customized via GreenLake Managed Services or GMS, allow us then to do integration of third-party elements. We can add in and even extend controls to their multiple public cloud environments. So via GMS or GreenLake Managed Services, I can integrate it and deliver a singular ServiceNow portal, for instance, that gives the customer a provisioning engine that allows them to provision private cloud, private infrastructure. They could even control their private data center infrastructure as well as their public cloud infrastructure and resources from Amazon, Google, or Azure, all from that singular console. Now that's within the GMS customized private cloud experience. That's not Private Cloud Enterprise, right? So PCE, Private Cloud Enterprise, I know this is not intuitive, which is why I want to make sure that everybody understands. PCE, Private Cloud Enterprise, is the simplified private cloud for customers that want a public cloud experience, but aren't demanding control and definition of what that looks like. If they want to mix in third-party elements like NetApp, EMC, Cisco, Dell, we can do that. In fact, almost 70% of our solutions, just under 70% of the GreenLake contracts that we have third-party elements in them that we're having to manage and automate. Now, the way it works, is that we right size the solution based on measuring it. And we do that with our cloud physics tool, right? We purchased cloud physics a couple years ago now so that we could have access to this tool and do our own sizing, right? And see what our customers are using in their virtualized environments and help us size it correctly. By sizing it correctly, it knows where we start, right? Then we take 100% of the infrastructure that's required to run 100% of their workloads, and we make that the new 80%. We give them 20% more, and we only charge them for 80%. We can either do that via a memory usage model, a compute usage model, a storage usage model. There's all kinds of different ways we can divvy that up and measure that, and we do that custom with each customer. You help us figure out what's the right model for your customer, right? And we work through that together. Now, we're giving them that extra 20% variable capacity. Meanwhile, they're guaranteed, or they basically have a commitment to us to pay for that 80%, right? And actually, in actuality, they can drop down to 70%, right? Now, we'll always try to stay ahead. That's why we say 20 or 30%, right? Because while we're targeting 80, they can drop down to 70 and lower their cost, but they're never going to be paying less than 70%. So that's something that we work through together. Now, as they grow, and each time they exceed and use and grow into or scale into and above that 80% waterline, you automatically get a 17% check for that extra infrastructure that was used for that period, right? And that's taken on a daily average. That's taken on a monthly average, right, of daily usage, and average then and billed at the end of each month. And then as they scale and they need more, we add more, and that's called a change order, right? And every time there's a change order that adds more infrastructure, again, you get a check for 17% of all of that right up front. And then, of course, the end state is continued variable capacity model. And we can write these contracts so that they're 80-20, 70-30, 60-40, and even 50-50, because we understand that lots of customers, even small customers, are doing mergers and acquisitions, especially right now. COVID has caused so many M&A projects out there where our customers are doing mergers, acquisitions that require them to have additional infrastructure as they start integrating in those new elements or those new assets and those new people, right? And those new applications. So we want to stay ahead of that. And sometimes we have to change the contract or put in place a 60-40 or 50-50 model for a short period of time to give them that extra infrastructure. We can do that. You can do that. Now, what the unified experience looks like, we have a new unified cloud portal that allows you access to Aruba Central, the Data Services Cloud Console, the Compute Ops Management Console, and GreenLake Central, as well as GreenLake for Aruba, my software center. You'd have a portal to your marketplace here, and your marketplace, the D&H marketplace, has a pointer to this portal as well. So this gives your customers an easy way to look at, and by the way, with the partner APIs that are coming with the Partner Vantage program, you will all have direct access to each of your customers' GreenLake Central consoles, so you can help them stay ahead of their needs. You'll have access to the financial model that's kind of referred to over on the top left of the screen, so that you have visibility to capacity ahead of when it's needed, right? You can look at the cost controls with them, talk them through that. You'll even have a pointer to the Hybrid Cloud Operations Console. If they've opted in for the Managed IT Compliance Service, then they would have a pointer to that hybrid console from within GreenLake Central, and then that would take them to that console, okay? So all visibility to faster insights, and there's the CFO view, the CIO view, the IT operations view, the storage admin view, the server admin view, the DevOps view. There is literally an infinite number of views that you can define with your customer, whatever view they need, so that only whoever they decide has access and responsibility and authority over certain assets. They're the only ones that have visibility and control of those assets. This is very, very minutia focused, right? So we can literally get down to granular to whatever level. And then when it comes to compliance, we're ensuring that they're staying compliant to the full NIST and CIS standards, which PCI, HEPA, and everything else is a subset of either NIST or CIS. And we're giving you visibility to compliance with the entire NIST and CIS requirement stack. whether it's visibility into their Amazon cloud, their Azure cloud, their Google cloud, or their GreenLake private cloud, or even their traditional data center infrastructure itself and how it's implemented. We can give them a compliance report at the push of a button, and most customers take weeks and a focus group to go get locked down in a conference room for a couple of weeks to come up with these compliance reports. We can do it at the push of a button for them. This will take hundreds, if not thousands of man hours out of their quarterly, semi-annual, or annual routines, depending on what type of business they're in. Now, as far as the financial model goes, yes, the traditional model you can see here on the bottom right of the screen, the gray line shows the traditional acquisition cost starting at, look, we're going to call it $1 million of infrastructure to buy 3 years worth of infrastructure. Whereas in a GreenLake model, the nice green diagonal here, denoting the GreenLake cost model, scales up because they're only paying for what they use, right? And you see that it crosses the typical line somewhere out there around year 3 or in the middle of year 3. And so they're saving money for those first 2.5 to 2 3/4 years. And this gives them an opportunity, again, to put that capital elsewhere. We can even buy back infrastructure. And because most customers, almost all of our customers, have great credit, we typically don't bill them till day 91, which gives us 90 days to stand up the private cloud, get it up and running, run applications in parallel, start moving workloads over from the public cloud to the private cloud, and then we can start taking those, well, public cloud or traditional IT resources offline. If they're traditional IT resources in the data center, we take them offline, buy them back from them, write them a check for them, and give them that cash even before they ever have to pay the bill on day 91, the first time. So this is a way that you can make this project a self-funding project and one that doesn't require a budget up front. So if you have a customer that would like this model, but they say, well, you know, this is great, Joe, but I don't have a budget for a private cloud this year. I have to wait till 2025. Guess what? You don't. You can do it right now. We can fund it if we do it right and size it correctly.
Yeah.
Now, over 70 plus services. There's a lot here. I'm just going to jump through here because I know we're getting close. We have about 8 minutes left. Did you have any questions out there, Austin?
There's a question that came through. I don't know about the 50-50, 50-40, and 70-30. We were always told it would be 80-20 or some kind of buffer in there.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, that's correct. And the 80-20 buffer is kind of like the generic. If you're a musician, it's the B flat generic version, right? Or C generic version if you're a key of C person, or maybe you're a guitarist, key of A person, whatever. You can tell them I'm a musician. The bottom line is that the generic would be 80-20. That's the default, right? But many customers need 70-30, 60-40, 50-50, depending on what they're going through, what their growth rate is, and what their M&A schedule is for mergers and acquisitions. Yes, we can do all kinds of custom buffers and capacities. So great question. Thank you for that note out there, Ken. Oh, sorry. Yes, as far as hybrid cloud solutions, yes, we can do private and public as depicted here. And even giving you visibility to your Azure, Amazon, and Google clouds. And more importantly, we can even run Microsoft Azure private stack on and in GreenLake. We have stacks, multiple solution stacks, small, medium, large, and everything in between to get you started to stand up a Microsoft Azure microcloud as a GreenLake service. And we have those as bundles, single SKUs that are ready to order, ready to deliver, as small as 4 servers. So 4 server simplicity and scalability to start is a very easy solution to sell to your customers. So no, it doesn't have to be a huge cloud opportunity to do this and sell this in GreenLake. And by the way, just a few examples of some of the customers that were bitten by the data egress fees or the outgrown scale and cost of the cloud. Yes, NASA, $12.3 million. And Zoom, of course, they were paying $1.8 million per month, and Amazon $11 million per month Zoom was paying. So we were able to pull them out of Amazon, rein in those costs. We've done the same thing with Adobe, Capital One, Pinterest, Netflix, Apple. And yes, Apple's a great customer of ours. We love Apple. Now, our HPI brethren may not love Apple, right? But you may not realize it, but Steve Jobs got his start at HP years and years ago. And throughout the life cycle of that relationship, Steve Jobs and HP launched iTunes and the iCloud, and it's been running on HP storage almost since its inception, and well, most of it was at the inception, and even the iTunes Store was on HP ProLine servers, right? We even had iPods with the HP logo on the back end. If you bought one of those first 3 years of iPods and you bought the Windows version, it had an HP logo on the back of it. So yeah, we love Apple. And the fact that we're helping them with $50 million, 6.5% of Apple's total spend was on data transfer rates. Crazy, ludicrous even, right? So we can bring it all together, simplify it all, backup and long-term retention, on-demand capacity bursting, DR as a service, integration of new and legacy systems. And yes, it doesn't have to be virtualized. We can even deliver a private cloud solution of raw applications that aren't virtualized and even manage bare metal as a service and deliver bare metal as a service if that's what your customer needs. Now, I did talk about moving the service delivery line here. So here on this slide, I want to just point out before we wrap that you as a partner can deliver whatever level of services you want. If you want to be delivering the identity and access management or the customer applications, or maybe you want to be responsible for the guest OS and the VMs and you just want us to deliver infrastructure as a service, the HP delivery model or service delivery model can stop anywhere here, or we can scale it all the way to the top to deliver the entire thing software as a service. Right? So you get to choose what type of service delivery model you want to sell to your customer, and you can plug in your own services anywhere in there. And of course, when it comes to incident management, problem identification, change management, configuration management, CMDB integration, that's universal configuration management, database integration, whether it's ServiceNow or whatever, all of this can be integrated. Whether maybe they want to put it in a colo, maybe your customers just simply want to get out of the business of managing data centers, but they still want to have control over the infrastructure and the platforms itself. Well, we can put it in a colo. We have relationships already with Equinix, CyrusOne, and Digital Realty, and even have relationships with a couple different QTS facilities and many others. So if there's a colo facility that your customer needs anywhere in the world, we have access to one or multiple to choose from. And no matter what the model is, no matter where they are in the business, whether they're the CIO, CEO, CFO, COO, CTO, IT director, or a developer or data scientist, we have conversations that you can have with them to show them and talk them through the value, whether it's manufacturing or healthcare or anything in between. We have all kinds of customer solution and customer testimonial stories to help you tell this story and to help them prove in how it is that we've delivered $7.1 billion of GreenLake contracts thus far with over 1,600 customers. And this is just a smattering of just a very, very few of these customers. Now, I am going to allow Austin to share this deck with you, everything but this one slide, Austin. This one slide is the only slide that's marked private and confidential. We can share the whole rest of the deck with our partners and they can have the deck except for this one slide. Okay.
All right.
And I asked that don't take a screenshot of this slide. I just wanted to share with you the fact that from small, medium, to large, whether it's Greenville Health, go ahead.
We're watching.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
We're watching them. We've got the probe inside them in their stomach. That's right. It'll let them know if they share the slide.
That's right. That's right. All right, we'll move on. So there's also a pointer to where you can take GreenLake for a test drive, or your customers can take GreenLake for a test drive right here. Click, and they can create their own temporary user ID and step themselves through the self-services portal, look at the reporting tools, and look to see how easy it is to stand up a VM. And of course, I also have pointers to industry analyst reports, the More Insights report, and a whole bunch of other things, the HP Compute portfolio, the GreenLake briefcase, and then lastly, a pointer to the ROI estimator tool. So with that as a wrap, I know we might have another question, but we also have a last polling question that I want to allow Austin to push out to you now. And that question is, now that you've heard the story, would you trust a private cloud that delivers the security and controls of traditional IT with public cloud-like cost savings?
Awesome.
That's my question to you.
I'm
hoping to get 100% yeses on this one, folks.
We'll let that question go for a second.
If there's any maybes out there, Austin, then I need to do a one-on-one with them after the fact to get them over the hump. on
Right.
this, you know,
If there's any,
what's the holdup?
right, and that's a great point, because if you're still on the fence with this, like, let us know, and we can get you any resources that you might be lacking, that or just any examples that you might need of a scenario, because most people that are saying maybe are like, I like the idea of this, but I don't know if it will work for customer X. Well, let's tell us a little bit more about customer X, and we might have
That's right.
something
Bring
we've done
customer
similar.
X to me. Call me in. It's like I say,
Yep.
put me in, coach. Right? If baseball season, put me in, coach. You know, I could play center field. Right? Although I did used to play left field, I could definitely play center field. Well, when
That's
I
where they
was
put all
younger.
the bad players, though. Wait, hold on. There's no way you were in
No,
left
center
field.
field's the person that has to be fast. You got to be quick, big, and agile, right, to play center field. But yeah,
All
no,
right.
it's all good.
We'll push
So
the
how did we
results
do on
over
the
to you
poll?
guys. There's the
Oh, well, we
results for
get
that one.
two-thirds at least. There's still 25% that are maybes and 8 that are no's. So I need personal one-on-ones with those 8 and the 25. And I'm serious about this, folks. I want to come in, talk to you, or dial in, talk to you. Let's talk about why maybe or why no, right? Why would they not want a private cloud with cost savings of public cloud? And by the way, we have cost models that cost less for a GreenLake private cloud, even when it's as small as 4 servers or just a few terabytes of storage. Because remember, we're only charging them for 80% while we're giving them 100%, and they don't have to buy 3 years up front. So let's talk through that, okay? And then
Ken did
lastly,
have
I
a
think we have
question
one.
that came
Go ahead.
through. He
Yeah.
asked, many people would say GL is for enterprise and not for SMB. How would you make GL for SMB? And that's what primarily 99% of the people that are on this
Well,
call
well,
are,
this is just it, right?
work for.
I get it, right? In fact, it's not just SMB, but I call it mid-sized commercial, right? So small, medium, large, a small, medium business, and mid-sized commercial business customers. Everybody needs cost savings in IT. Everybody. And since I can deliver and I can prove in the financials for as little as 4 servers, any customer that's ever thinking about buying 4 servers at a time is a perfect candidate for GreenLake. Any of them. And I don't know a single SMB customer that doesn't typically buy at least 4 servers every 3 years, right? So if you have a customer that's buying 4 or more servers every 3 years, then they are a perfect candidate for GreenLake. I'm saying it unequivocally, right? And you can take me to the bank on that one.
Awesome.
All right,
Update
and I think we have
to
one last final slide, and I want to give everybody my contact
go ahead.
information if we can, Austin, as we wrap.
Is it that the thank you slide?
There we go. It's the thank you slide. That's right. I'm serious. Reach out to me, Joe V. That's JOEV at HPE.com. And I'm glad to schedule a one-on-one with you. I can do a virtual sales call or even fly out and meet with you in person and your customer in person. I make sales calls. Glad to come out and help you close that opportunity or qualify that opportunity. And I have a slew of folks behind me that are anxious and willing to help as well. So
Awesome.
again, I want to thank you for your time. Thanks for the time today, Austin. And I love D&H. We're really getting excited about D&H and the partners being able to finally sell CTO, not just BTO. So we love that and getting excited about GreenLake.
Hey, Joe, for like the last 7 years of my career here at D&H, I've made it a career of butchering people's names. So the fact I'm Chris, not Austin, but I've done that to so many people
my gosh, I'm sorry,
that I
Chris.
deserve it. After 7 years, I deserve this.
I'm so sorry.
It's completely fine. There are 26.
Can we fix that in the post edit? Can we fix it in
we'll
post?
fix that in post too. There's partners here. There's partners here that are watching this. Like, man, Chris, you dug this your own grave here. You're deserving
sorry,
this.
Chris.
So, no,
Brutal,
that's perfectly fine.
brutal.
Austin's been behind the scenes working his butt off this broadcast, so he deserves a
he was
little love as
connected
well.
in early. Sorry about that.
Yeah. And that also updated the email. It's just hpe@dnh.com if you have any questions about the SKUs and when they're available. If you have any additional questions about anything we talked about today, email hpspecialist@dnh.com, or if you're on the Canada side, it's hpespecialistcanada@dnh.com. We have this entire PowerPoint presentation minus the one slide that we can't show outside this presentation available in the resources. If you missed anything or you just want to take a look at the PowerPoint deck at the end, it's available there. We do have one.
And by the way, that PowerPoint deck is chock full of presenters' notes, speakers' notes, so that you know how to present it as well.
Yes. And we do have additional broadcasts coming up later this week on September 1st. It will be the MSP Guide to a Well-Rounded Market Plan. I'll be joining you again hosting that one. So we'll hopefully see you again on Thursday afternoon. But for now, Joe, thank you so much. There was so
And
much
thank you,
information.
Chris.
We couldn't get to it all of it. So hopefully we can have you back on again and we can talk more about the HPE GreenLake Cloud.
Looking forward to it. Thank you. Have a great day. And by the way, stay safe, stay happy, and stay healthy, but do not stay thirsty.
Yes. Get some water. I'm going to drink a Mountain Dew, but you can't see it because it's a green screen, so it's a clear can.
It's a soda pop. That's right. Yeah.
See, the Coke executives aren't happy. See you guys.
Got my big gulp right there. There you go.
Yep, there you go.
Take care, guys.